Good evening and welcome to the Blackthorn. For the love of words here, live at the Blackthorn. We have an open mic, we have music, we have poetry and music features. First off, I'd like to thank our sponsors. We have the Easton Shoveltown Cultural District. We thank them for their support for poetry and the arts in and around Easton and the surrounding community. We thank the Blackthorn for this performance space, and we thank Easton Cable Access Television for our sound system, and we thank them for recording, which is for our monthly broadcast. We did our first broadcast last month. We had 120 minutes of footage, which is really good. So when you get up here tonight, remember you are being recorded. If you do not want to be recorded, let us know. If you do, make sure you sign a release. So what else do we have? Please put your cell phones, cameras, anything that goes click and makes noise on silent. If you are taking pictures or recording somebody, you need their permission to. And what else do we have? Anything else? So in that case, without further ado, there'll be enough out of me and Alan. We will call you up, and Alan Howarth, our host, will open the open mic. The show is yours. Thank you.
Well, I think the mic is warmed up enough for all you folks. So I'm going to start off the evening and read something of mine, and then we'll take it from there. Just as a little introduction, I had a very tragic and unfortunate thing happen with my family during the holidays, and one of my sons passed away. And he suffered from PTSD. He was a veteran from one of the earlier episodes in the Gulf, Persian Gulf, and he struggled with PTSD for a long time. And he was just on the verge of getting better when his heart decided that it was time for him to leave. So anyways, I had written a poem for him quite some time ago, and I want to read it tonight in his memory, and hopefully somewhere he's listening to that. And quite ironically, a number of years ago, he was actually a waiter right here at the Blackthorn. So how about that? Anyway, this poem is called, thank you. This poem is called Meditations on a Jackson Pollock. And this is for you, Matthew. Your painting of man is in all the wrong colors. Why not start again? Fill in all the white canvas, but don't let the colors work against you. You are painting the face red, the arms are blue, and you repeat the color later at the feet. Whose man is this that you are painting? You give him claws for his fingernails, horns replace hair, and the black eyes are corrected and made blacker. Your pathetic strokes make thin poles for legs. Do you think man is all that weak? Now that his life is in your hands, be kind. You wipe reckless paint off your body as if it were blood. This is turning into war. You draw his fingers grasping your throat. Then you give him closed eyelids so he cannot see himself. What will he do next? There is no need for you to worry. At the turn of your small brush, he could die in your arms. Thank you. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to give a really nice, warm welcome, Blackthorn welcome to our first open mic guest, one of our music people, Mr. Henry Gitta.
Thank you. Let's give a big hand to Rich Berg, who does this every month. My name's Henry, and this is by the Grateful Dead. I lit out from Reno, I was trailed by 20 hounds. Didn't get to sleep that night till the morning came around. Said out running, but I take my time. Friend to the devil is a friend of mine. I get home before daylight, just might get some sleep tonight. Ran into the devil, baby, loaned me 20 bills. Spent the night in Utah in a cave up in the hills. Set out running, but I take my time. Friend of the devil is a friend of mine. I get home before daylight, just might get some sleep tonight. Oh, ran down to the levee, babe, the devil caught me there. Took my $20 bill and vanished in the air. Set out running, but I take my time. Friend of the devil is a friend of mine. I get home before daylight, just might get some sleep tonight. Got 2 reasons why I cry away each lonely night. First one's named Sweet Anne-Marie, and she's my heart's delight. Second one is prison, baby, sheriff's on my trail. If he catches up with me, I'll spend my life in jail. Got a wife in Chino, baby, one's a Cherokee. First one says she's got my child, but it don't look like me. Set out running, but I take my time. Friend of the devil's a friend of mine. I get home before daylight, just might get some sleep tonight. Thank you. This next one's actually a song by Bob Dylan. Most people don't know it's by Bob Dylan, though. Clouds so swift, rain won't lift, gate won't close, the railings froze. Get your mind off winter time, you ain't going nowhere. Ooh-wee, ride me high, tomorrow's the day my bride's gonna come. Oh Lord, we're gonna fly down to the easy chair. I don't care how many letters we sent. Morning came and morning went. So pack up your money, put up your tent, 'cause you ain't going nowhere. Ooh-wee, ride me high, tomorrow's the day my bride's gonna come. Said, oh Lord, we're gonna fly down to the easy chair. Buy me a flute and a gun that shoots, tailgates and substitutes. Strap yourself to a tree with roots, 'cause you ain't going nowhere. Ooh-wee, ride me high, tomorrow's the day my bride's gonna come. Said, oh Lord, we're gonna fly down to the easy chair. Ride me high, tomorrow's the day my bride's gonna come. I said, oh Lord, we're gonna fly down to the easy chair. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Henry. Now our next open mic guest, get my little sheet here, is going to be Mr. Craig Fredericks. Please come on up to the mic, Craig Fredericks. Thank you.
Good to be back. Last month I did 10 lines and it took me a minute, so I think this should take 2 minutes. I got 20 lines for you. So 2 minutes of your time. Unexpressed thought. Some of you have heard these before. I know I got them going through my head all the time, so you can stand them once or twice a year, I think. But what is it I meant to write? I'm sure I had an idea. There once was this thought. Learn to spell consciousness. There once was this thought. Learn to see sight. Maybe I'm crazy. Learn to see consciousness. Maybe I'm crazy. Learn to smell sight. Maybe I'm crazy, but if I'm right, there once was this thought I could have made clear. Okay. And 8 more lines here. Soon to be waste. These words serve no purpose. Hope nothing suffered making this ink. These words serve no purpose, not even trying to make you all think. Again, towards no purpose, neither for knowledge nor popular taste. Again, I say purpose, fresh words and clean paper, now gone to waste. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Craig. I'd like to bring up to the microphone next, with a nice blackthorn welcome, Miss Rona Lappin, one of my great friends down at the Duxbury Poetry Circle. Thank you.
Hi. This is called Damaged Goods. This is called Damaged Goods. Vietnam vet, medic, putting the fallen in body bags. Coming home, finally. Drinking beer all night, sleeping all day. Street smart Jersey girl, hippie, flower child. Smoking joints, demonstrating, dropping out. The lost generation, 2 disparate souls, looking for love, finding each other. Lost, broken, mismatched pair. Post-traumatic stress hero meets depression in full bloom. Marry, have a son, live parallel lives. 20 years gone, hard to imagine. How to dismantle a marriage, go on. Thank you. This one is called The Room. You don't know it, but sometimes when I go downstairs to get something or put the laundry in, I wander into that room, your small office, with the pictures of you both, happy, young, in love. And I feel like an intruder, an outsider, time traveler, sent here to bear witness to your love for each other. And I ponder and reflect on the fact that I may never have that.
Thank you very much, Rona. Now my next poet to come up is going to be Miss Chris Zaramba. Thank you.
Hi. I have to preface this first poem by saying that my late husband was a blues musician who liked to wear cowboy boots. It's called Walk These Boots Around. There were many boots you wore, a different pair each time you walked out the door. The toes so pointed, I was sure they hurt. Cowboy boots, but never a cowboy shirt. No Western songs you'd ever play. Just play the blues both night and day. Your hands, your feet, we matched in size. Tonight I finally realized those boots in brown and black and blue. Those boots, they'd also fit me too. The leather one soft, the stitched design, those cowboy boots would now be mine. I pulled a pair upon my feet, went out the door, went down the street. The blues band played its sultry song, a slide guitar. It's been way too long since these boots had heard that sound. So for now, I'll walk these boots around. And I don't know if we have any plumbers in the house, so if we do, pardon me. This one's called Cleaning My Pipes. He came to clean my pipes today, a toolbox in his hand. I opened my front door to him, a pretty good-looking man. He followed me to my bedroom. The pipes were beyond that door. He hung his hat upon the hook. He put his tools upon my floor. I asked if I could watch him work or if he preferred I look away. He smiled, a bad boy smile, and said that I could stay. He began to unscrew the first pipe. His hands were so big and strong. A bead of sweat rolled down my face. He asked if something was wrong. Leaning over above my tub, down upon his knees, he asked me to hold his wrench so we could get a tighter squeeze. His arm, it rubbed against my thigh as I held that wrench so tight. Then the faucet let out a boom. Water gushed out with all its might. We laughed to ease the tension as we stood there dripping wet. I handed him a towel, but he said he wasn't finished yet. He cleaned my pipes, packed up his tools, and said that was quite an afternoon and that he'd be back another day to clean my other pipes real soon.
Thank you very much, Chris. You have that plumber's number somewhere, huh? I'd like to bring up to the stage now a musical guest, to Mr. Mike Shea. Mike, come on up.
I'm not sophisticated enough to be a hidden meaning guy. Were there hidden meanings? Gladly, yes. This first song, I've written a couple of new songs since the last time I was here. Made good on my absence, I guess. This song is called Take No Prisoners. It's a love song of a kind, I think. Madeline dabs some color from her palette. And sketches out the confines of my face. Then she takes the knife and she loads its silver blade and slashes flesh and bone right into space. When she's done, she shows to me my image and accepts my awe with the clear eyes of a saint. Each slash and stroke, she says, is a matter of life or death. I can take no prisoners when I paint. I shall take no prisoners when I paint. Lonnie sits for hours at his piano, mining the words and music for a song. He moans and tortures over every single phrase. Then he finally strikes some chords and growls along. He asks me how it sounds, and I tell him edgy. This laugh tells me that I'm much more right than wrong. Each word and note he says, well, it's a matter of life or death. I can take no prisoners with my songs. I shall take no prisoners with my song. Well, they say all's fair in love and war. And I know good love is worth the fighting for. But as a lover or a fighter, I always need to trust if my all too human heart can be just. So here we stand, my darling, face to face, to feel if our love lives or if it dies. We'll marshal our defenses and we'll aim with all our pride in the sorrow in my voice and in your eyes. Well, you tell me that you need me, and I say how? Yes, I need to learn just what you're needful of. Oh, life can be ironic, but we don't have to be. If I live this life for you, and you live this life for me, then we'll take no prisoners with our love. We shall take no prisoners when we love. Thank you. This is meant to be a love song of any kind, but we shall find out. It's called This Night with You. Evening comes like music soft and warm, and finds me here in the harbor of your arms. I hear the waves hammering the shore, but you are my calm after the storm. Candlelight holds your loving smile. The tide of time is ebbing all the while. And if all I need to know is the loving that you show, then I know my life is blessed and forever will caress this night with you, this night with you. Life can seem as wondrous as the sea, deep and dim and brimmed with mystery. Its design lies far beyond my mind. Still it bows to all that love can be. That blessed hand that brought you here to me. Window stars shining through the lace, like fingerprints, their fires upon your face. And if all I had to give was this last night to live, then let me face that end with gratefulness and spend this night with you, this night with you. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mike. And now our next poet at the microphone is going to be one of my favorites, Mr. Philipposaurus.
So the cold has finally hit us, and thankfully we all have somewhere to go tonight for shelter. This is for the people who don't. Days of the week. The spillage of tears trails along the beaten path of have and have not. What your country can do for you. But what can you do? The knot twists stomachs, reminds this fight to the death. In this corner, wearing tattered colors, no time limit, weighing in at a lean, no time lost. Shake hands, come out, dawn to dusk. Push, 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 the burning of calves, melted down muscle, quick to the bone. Monday, West Side rubbish, don't wake the neighbors. Wednesday, hot meal, second helping, brothers and sisters. God loves you and you and you and you. Friday, save your money. Party time, court instead of a pint. Sunday, comfort the children. Playground streets, reflect newspaper. Screaming jobs here. One room to the streets, no time limit. Hand to mouth, no time lost. Tuesday, the wait is long, at least warmth amidst the tears, coughing, and the misery. Bracelet brands, identified identity. Thursday, East Side rubbish, competition is fierce. Saturday, bus station, no travel plans, cup in hand, itinerary misplaced. One way, dead end, no time limit. Yesterday, tomorrow, no time lost for the have-not. We got our first snow today, so this is called First Snow. Drop shovel into fresh fallen snow. Push, inhale crisp air, feel the consciousness. Infinite flakes against face, atmosphere bends, census pours into lungs, spills to tingle toes. Twilight falling to the scent of pink roses, remembrance of summer's warmth in time, quiets the timbre of my being. Exhale, relish the illumination in this beautiful morning. And this is just called receptive. She whispered into my breath, your heart is beating a mile a minute. Her ear lightly pressed against my chest, caving in. I am lying in my self-coffin. The cool sheet ripples against the shadows of light, flexing their momentum. Silence crawls like tectonic plates. I think of Lazarus, bring to mind of matter. See in your mind's eye, night carries us to morning and approaches with no sound. First light sighs, waits for the scent of dew. One last time we turn, receptive to the delicate mist that drapes the last kiss before the next.
I'm going to share a couple spoken word pieces with you tonight. All right. The first one has been Process, and it's entitled Undercurrent. Welcomed home by the waves, imploring of a breathless savior, my queen, washed ashore quartz clean by a purity unseen beyond the tides, or perhaps an infant's smile, unscathed by disease or conditioning, replenish me. Immersed in the belly of the ocean, cerulean hips rising amidst pearl pendants laced about a deep blue waist, water goddess, her face eclipsing, finds me listless at the tryst. This daughter of the moon has ravaged my stagnancy, a monsoon purging a bay. Seeking a psychic contentment, I relent and kneel. The silly mortal, self-manacled in coral, the source of our bottomless sorrow, flows for a consciousness adrift, ambitious for tomorrow, without introspection and reflection for the fullness of now. Across the moon-wrenched liquid azure horizon, aquatic mammals cry innocent laments. For family long lost to land, we resemble tumbled stones tossed and tested by time's sands. Heedless of any grievous fact, relinquish and feed, sea foam starved yet so tactfully free. Beckoning in Turtle Island's breeze, for my liberated love, please believe. I have one more here for now, and this one is newer, entitled Anointed. Anointed by the Most High, the point between the earth and sky provides guidance for our lifetime. When we are humble and aligned, so strive for centeredness and fill the temple in your chest with nebula bloodlines. The stars are your birthright, pulsing through your heart with a supernova's might. And the Buddha pierces the night. You see, my analytical mind tried to quantify the maze, but without the proper tools, I was just left in a daze. I didn't see that my ship wasn't fit to navigate the waves. That's okay, somehow I lived to sail another day. I took refuge in the way of love. And when I share a little bit, I realize that it's not enough. Your body is the perfect host for archetypal consciousness, personifying mythos. Activate your magic crystals and we'll fill this world with miracles. Your heart is nature's oracle, so let the light pour over you like butter over lobster to saturate your chakras. I've birthed these words to rock you.
Thank you very much, Evan. Nice job. And now to conclude this portion of the open mic, I'd like to bring up my dear friend and co-host, Mr. George Como. George.
Thank you, Alan. I'm going to follow Phil with another snow poem. Celebrating the season, if I counted correctly, this is the 12th day of Christmas, known as Little Christmas in my tradition. And I'm celebrating the first snowfall. Actually, the first one here was, I think, Christmas Eve, but I'm celebrating the soft snowfall, not the cold, hard, wet, dark snowfall. This is called Dancing Snowflakes. I may perform it hybrid. I don't know notes, but I may intone. If I can find light. Dancing snowflakes, mystic, swirling, twisting, curling, the season's most marvelous show. Twinkling in moonlight, winking at midnight, blessing our village below. Brighten the darkness, clothe it in splendor, never surrender to deep chilling moments that threaten our worth. Dancing snowflakes, special, splendid, heavenly tended, each different with gifts from above. Visions descending, silent befriending, our fragile hearts searching for love. Blanket the meadows, nourish the seeds. Each thirsting heart needs the comfort and shelter that fall to the earth. Dancing snowflakes, wonder of winter, please peacefully enter, bringing the center of new joyful mirth. Strengthen our spirits, brighten the dark night, whisper of new light, christen our lives with new birth. Thank you. And this was as a recessional to the season. I had a lot of company. They just left. I just put my house back together. This is 2 days after Christmas. 2 days after Christmas, breakfast all alone, only calls from courtesy on my telephone. All the sharing disappeared as sudden as it came. So what's the point? Was this a celebration or a game? Memories of olden days keep looming extra large. I was enthused and joyful, but I was not in charge. Santa Claus knew everything, that was the best for me. But Santa's gone like Christmas, he's just a memory. Who said we have to grow up? Why can't we return? Or am I missing something? Were there things I didn't learn? When all the world was peaceful and dreams kept coming true, and showing up and dreaming was all I had to do. But now I guess I'm Santa Claus, and every stormy night demands I face the elements and be a source of light, and happiness may ride with me through the wind and snow, and I must bring a candle everywhere I go. But when I see the glow reflected in some other eyes, at last I understand this is not some mere disguise. The spirit is rekindled, and I catch my breath and pause, and thank the Lord I have a chance to be like Santa Claus. Thank you.
Thank you so much, George, for those ending remarks. And now I'd like to bring back Mr. Rich Berg to the microphone. Rich.
Boy, I'm dreaming if I was this tall, huh? I will close out the open mic with a poem that tonight I will dedicate in memory of Alan's son, Matthew. 21 guns under the red, white, and blue. Airborne ICU breathing you. 20 units, stop the damn bleeding. Diminished pulse, another transfusion. Chopper spinning into confusion. No movie magic, no illusion. No take two in a combat rescue. Night sky, crack, pop. No confirmation, no communication. Descent, 400 feet, 200 feet, minus 100, sir. Morphine drip, slip, trip, and holler. Displaced IV and cervical collar. Failing lung and lacerated face. Another marker in the death race. Smack down into base camp perimeter. Shrapnel punctured leg and gut. Sedate. Cut. Clamp. Amputate. Soldier dies, close eyes, we cry. The Army, Navy, and Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and Reserve companies keep it over there, not here. The velocity atrocity, every time someone dies, even enemy eyes, we cry. Take it home in our heart and die a little too. Don't like it, despise it, must be another way. But until then, time and again, they are the heroes, defending our freedom from start till the end. When does it become peace and democracy? In what generation? I'm sorry anyone has to be at war. More sorry, some don't come home. You get the call, a parent's nightmare, realizing your soldier child became an angel, living a dedication beyond words. I'm the mother of, the father of, the sister and the brother of, the son, the daughter, the grandparent of, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, the best friend of, the teacher and the officer of. These soldier children are our future veterans. Save the economy and bail out Wall Street. Play the lobbyist and screw Main Street. But don't ever consider letting a vet worry about housing, health care, and enough to eat. 21 guns under the red, white, and blue. His boots came home alone. Both hands cold. His flag I fold. Both hands cold. Now not so bold. Both hands cold. One more year. He'll never be that old. Thank you. That closes out our open mic. I thank you all. Right now, we have a spotlight feature. Mr. Steve Jones, an aspiring young man who is determined to change the world. He started out writing rap lyrics, fell into this poetry scene. He does some slam. He has got it going on. And so after him, we have Mr. Mike Quigg as our main feature. He has got it going on at times too. So right now, no further ado, Mr. Steve Jones.
So I'm more than inspired to write to change the world. I really want to live to change the world. I mean, it's only a little part that we can all do, but if we all play our part, we could really make a big difference in people's lives. And so when I write poetry, I want to write more than just poetry. I want to write something that's going to impact people. And with this first poem that I'm going to do, as I was writing it, I actually had writer's block while trying to write it, because not that I didn't know what I wanted to say, I just couldn't find words big enough for what I wanted to say. Like, I wanted to really write a poem that's going to change the world. I really want to write a poem that's going to better our culture. I want to write a poem that's going to remind us of all the things that we have so that we can stop living our lives as vultures. And all I can think about as I was writing is I want to change the world with this paper and pen. I want to teach young boys to grow up like men. And I want to teach girls that their worth is not in their beauty, and not to get your expectations from some Hollywood movie. I want to write a poem for the kid who feels left out because the other kids won't let him play ball. Maybe his shoes are too small, or one size, or a little bit too old, or one size too small. I want to write a poem that'll soften the blows from feeling alone in single-parent homes, and for the kid who got both parents but all they do is scream. I want to write a poem that'll lower the sound, and for the kid who got to ask why his dad's not around. I want to write a poem for the teenagers that are trying to act cool and let them know that the people that you're trying to impress right now probably won't be there once you graduate school. I want to let them know that drugs and liquor won't help you grow up any quicker. and revenge never taste sweet after pulling the trigger. I want to write a poem that'll lower the death toll. And for the grieving parent whose son died and can't let go, I want to write a poem that unites us with a passion. Because right now we can't even look somebody in the eyes when we pass them. I want to write a poem that helps us interact more socially, because the way that things are right now is not the way it's supposed to be. I want to write a poem that helps us be more inviting and accepting and to comfort the person that all these things are affecting. I don't want to write just another poem for the audience that creatively expresses what should already be obvious. No, I want to write a poem that moves us. But honestly, sometimes writing for that purpose can be useless, because words don't outweigh actions. The problem is our good actions are overshadowed by the bad ones. The problem is we're too good at pointing out the problem, and we're too bad at finding ways to solve them. But what if we stop being afraid of standing up for what's right? Or stop being afraid of, I don't know, hanging out with somebody who's too bad to be considered our type? Or here's a concept. To you, this might sound like nonsense, but what if thieves stop breaking into things because we first broke into their thought process? See, I want to write a poem. But a poem alone is as lifeless as a stone unless those stones are sent to bones to deliver the message and mold that poem into a lifestyle. I want to write down words that express the misery of our misled liberty with creativity that unravels the mystery of peace. I want to write a poem that changes the soul but also impacts physically. I want to write a poem, yes, but honestly, not as bad as I want to write history. Thank you. So this next poem that I'm going to do is called My 5-Year Plan. And I don't know if anybody ever asked you, where do you see yourselves in 5 years from now? But yeah, I hate that question because I never really know the answer. I can make plans, but I never know and my plans never work out. So let me just tell you this poem about my 5-year plan, I guess. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Has anybody ever asked you that? The first time that somebody asked me, honestly, I was caught off guard. I started to think, would I drive a nice car? Where would I work? Would I like my job? Would I have a good salary? Who would I be dating? Would I already be married? Would I already be a dad? If so, how many kids would I have? I don't know. All these things started to race through my mind, and as I imagined where I thought my life would steer, where I hope I would live, what I hope would be my career, the answer started to become clear. I have no idea where I'll be 5 years from now. But honestly, I think I'm okay with that. See, I could try to make plans and take chances to make advances, and although I do believe you should have a plan, and maybe even a backup plan, you should also know that the plans of a man can stop faster than a traffic jam. In 8th grade, my boy Jason had a plan, till he got caught and shot in crossfire in Mattapan. Death can change lives faster than pastors can, I'm just saying. We can all spend a time to work on our goals. But there are outside forces that we can't control, like me. Let's just say, in 4 years from now, my car doesn't get totaled in a crash, and I don't have enough cash to buy a new one, so I can't find a way to get to work. I lose my job, and I'm forced to work as a convenience store clerk, and I can barely make enough money to pay the rent. And meanwhile, the wife that I wanted, I still haven't met. And as I feel drenched in the stress, I am met with the reality check that I need a new 5-year plan. See, I can't trust in my 5-year plan. But there is a plan, luckily, that I can trust in, and I'm choosing this one. Today, I start my new 5-year plan. Here it is. In 5 years from now, I want to trust more and look more like Jesus. Yes, the one who was so focused on his plan to love and to free us, and his plan was to give us our plan. His blood gives us more life than our hearts can. I want to be just like him and serve others because it's much better to give. I want to step out on faith because that's the best way to live. I want to be so focused on his plan that I stop worrying about my plan and my life. Truthfully, I want to know where you will be 5 years from now, so that I can be there with you. and so that we can work out our issues together. I always want to have an ear to lend. I want people to come to me with trust because I was always there for them. See, my wife, my kids, my house, my promotion, my car, they all might be far away, but like I said, this plan starts today. I won't be happy with where I am 5 years from now, if I'm not happy with where I am 5 seconds from now. But those who trust in God are never let down. And I don't know if you have a 5-year plan or not, but you can't trust your 5-year plan. But speaking from experience, you can trust in God. Thank you. I got one more poem. I always try to write with a purpose, but sometimes I just write for the fun of it. And this one is just a for the fun of it poem, sort of. It's still a purpose, but a little bit on the lighter side. All right. I never performed this one yet, so you guys are my first audience. Let's see. No, I'm just trying to remember the words. Once I get the start of it, I'll be good. All right. Top 10 reasons why you should marry a poet. AKA I'm single and I'm hoping this poem finds me a girlfriend. Number 1, a poet will never whisper you sweet nothings. No. Instead, a poet will whisper sweet soliloquies of metaphors and similes to express his love and devotion, because a poet, a good poet, is never afraid to show emotions. Number 2, a poet will never retaliate your wrong with another. He will never escalate the argument. No, he will never start a pattern that does not fit with the direction of the relationship, because a good poet knows that he doesn't have to rhyme. Number 3, poets like to rhyme. They like to make things work. Just like there's no exact word that rhymes with the word angel. He is still able to stay faithful and grateful. Even when the relationship is painful, he will work all angles to try and amaze you. Number 3. No, that's number 4. We're on 4. All right. Number 4. A poet will never stop dating you. Even after marriage, he will never keep you waiting. He will stretch your imagination, keep your fascination. He will never stop finding new ways to love you, never forgetting why he started and never try to stop on you. His eyes are locked. When you grow old, he will rewind the clock, because a poet's worst fear is writer's block. You are his poem. Number 5, you are not his poem. Even though a poet loves to create art, a good poet knows a masterpiece when he sees one. Number 6, a poet is never content. By the time he has found you, he has already erased so many dates that he has no eraser left. He has already thrown out pages and pages of rough drafts of unfinished relationships that were leading nowhere. He has hit backspace so many times that little Microsoft paperclip tip guy knows his instincts. And Microsoft Word no longer asks if he would like to save before exiting. No, he already knows it's over. By the time he meets you, he starts writing in pen, because he realizes that there is no mistake that can't be fixed with a new line. Number 7, poets make mistakes, and they're not afraid to admit it. In fact, he will make sure that he is 100% ready before his work is submitted and he is committed. Number 8, a poet can't wait to write his wedding vows. Number 9, a poet will inspire you. He will make you feel. He will make you laugh. He will make you smile. He will capture what's inside of you. He will lead you. And I'm not sure what the rest of that number 9 was. Oh, and he will always stand up and speak up for what is most important. And number 10, 10th reason why you should marry a poet, is because he will never leave you empty. He will never leave you unsatisfied. Never let a problem go unsolved. Never let the sun go down on his anger. He will never let the sun go down on his anger. A good poet will let you think for yourself and let you come to your own conclusion, because a good poet knows how to finish. Thank you.
I am blessed in a lot of ways, but how I found a guy like him is just totally beyond me. I can't put it into words. Another round. Thank you very much. Our main feature is humble and quiet and shy. He's also one of the main volunteers at the Boston Poetry Slam at the Cantab Lounge. He's the guy at the door who always takes your money. He's the guy at the door, looks at you and says, hey, you didn't pay. And when someone says they paid, he says, uh-uh. But behind him, when he says someone didn't pay, there's like 6 other people from the bar grabbing the person that didn't pay. And he just sits. He's a husband. He's a community volunteer, community organizer. He runs a soccer league or a soccer organization. I work for a team. He works for a team. Even better. He is poet extraordinaire. He doesn't always come up to the microphone. And when I asked him about featuring, the answer I got was, what? Huh? I said, you're a poet. You're at the Cantab. Come feature. He's like, yeah, okay, I'll do it, Rich. Ladies and gentlemen, his nickname is Q. His full name is Mike Quigg. And without further ado, here he is.
So, first things first, I want to say thanks for coming out. And I also want to thank Mr. Rich Berg for inviting me and also for all the work he does because it's a lot, if you don't know. It is very much a lot. And to warn you guys, I didn't remember until a couple minutes ago to cross out all the F words, so a couple might sneak through. Sorry. But all right, I'm going to start off with a few shortish poets version of short. I think we all know what that means. All right, this one is basically a haiku that turned into 3 different poems that became one 3-part poem. It's called Last We Spoke. Last you and I spoke, I could have sworn you were drunk. It was 10 a.m. Last time we spoke, I could have sworn you were drunk. It was 10:30 in the morning, and I was shocked to hear from you. Not as shocked as you would have been if I had called you, but shocked nonetheless. You thought I didn't like the Christmas gift you got me. But actually, I loved it. It was perfect. Last time we spoke, I could have sworn you were drunk. It was only 10:30 in the morning, and it was more likely that you'd been up all night than it was that you just started, but I was... There we go. Last time we spoke, I could have sworn you were drunk. It was only 10:30 in the morning, and it was more likely that you'd been up all night than it was that you just started, but it was still unsettling. Because despite the fact that we're both supposedly adults now and that we're both going gray, I remember rock star dreams and heavy metal screams, thinking Motley Crue and Metallica had all the answers, and heaven was Tawny Katane, spread eagle on the hood of a Jag. Thinking the only way to escape this place was to scrape its stench from our skin, to get as far away from this town as we could, because it would pull you back in. That's why our fathers and uncles are still here. Before you'd even know it, you'd be called a townie, and if you were lucky, you'd go to work for the parks department, and after you punched out, you'd get your smokes and house beer at Foley's. It's what was expected of kids like us. We weren't supposed to make it out. But we weren't having that, so when we pushed back. We were screaming in Prison Brown, dreaming of our own way. They told us we were lost, but we'd always been found. They just didn't know where to look. Still, we must have had a death wish, because you don't jump onto the side of a moving commuter rail train and expect to live. We were stoned on the roof on Wednesdays, drunk in the park on Thursdays, and Friday was all hell breaking loose because their noose wasn't getting us, wasn't turning us into the living dead that staggered through our daily nightmare, because we never understood how you could live like that and expect to be alive. Thank you. I'm not much of a chit-chatter, so this will be very filled with words. All right. I don't have a title for this one. I feel sad. I write it down. Try to explain. It doesn't work. I feel pain. I write it down. Try to explain. It doesn't work. I try again. It doesn't work. I feel sorrow. I write it down. Try to explain. It doesn't work. I try again. It doesn't work. And again. It doesn't work. I feel the darkness. I write it down. Try to explain. It doesn't work. I try again. It doesn't work. And again. It doesn't work. I go to sleep. It doesn't work. I wake up. It doesn't work. I do my job. It doesn't work. I do my joy. It doesn't work. I give in. It doesn't work. So I try again, but it doesn't work. And again, it doesn't work. And again, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Okay. All right. This is a short one I wrote for somebody very special. You are not broken. You present yourself as if you are flawed, not worth the effort of getting to know you, as if doing so would be my ruin. But you are wrong. I do not see the flaws you do. Or rather, I don't consider them flaws. What I see is flawless. What I see is worth any effort. It is worth every effort. You are not broken. You are beautiful. And I will never see you any other way. Okay. All right. Okay. I haven't done one of these in like 6 years. I'm like so nervous. Okay. All right. So if you remember a while back, there was a major earthquake in Haiti. Devastated the whole country. So, of course, when a friend of mine said they were putting together a spoken word CD as a benefit, I jumped on the chance to be part of it, and this is called Unshaken. This land first shook when it was born, rising from the chaos of continental shift, unafraid and defiant. It shook again when the genocide came to our shore, teaching us the ways of the civilized world, when empires judged us to be pawns to their will, believed we could not see their hearts through their eyes. Claiming and ceding our home as if changing a flag could change a heart, when those of us with our own prejudices have struggled for us from within. Black choking mulatto, choking Creole, all choking growth. This land shook, but we are unshaken. For all of humanity's generations, we have stood as the mountains this land was named for. We are stronger than your greed and more beautiful than any of your so-called goddesses. The destruction will not destroy us. Our children shall rise from the chaos of tectonic shift, unafraid and defiant. So shake, earth, shake. Shake these mountains, these trees. Shake the buildings down around our feet. In however many pieces, what crumbles can be rebuilt. Shake, earth, shake. Shake this land, this house. Shake our roofs down upon our heads. This home is humbly made of wood and stone, but it is not our home. Shake, earth, shake. Shake these men, these women. Shake these mothers, these fathers. Shake us all you can. You will not shake the defiance from our pride. You will not shake the pride from our humanity. And you will not shake the humanity from our hearts. Shake this heart, earth. Shake it. Shake it with all your might. With all the might of your apocalypse fist. It will not stop beating. Okay. All right, so these next two are from a series I did called Funeral Clothes, and this one is Day One, The Wake. When taking funeral clothes out of the closet, everything slows down. Hands drift towards door handles. The rollers slowly play their notes as the accordions open, eyes moving to the spot before the squeaky symphony is even over. Hangers are clutched gently and carefully lifted. The weight of past funerals' grief tightens your shoulder as it sways towards you. The veil, thin, recession-grade, dry cleaner's plastic you were once so careful to keep intact is torn away, bringing you back to reality. Time starts to catch up as you get dressed, gracelessly putting on your father's skin. You will mutter the phrase, "How much weight have I put on?" at least twice. Once when your already snug shirt puckers 3 small kisses to you, and again when you try to button those once perfectly fitting pants. These are your only moments of levity. Finally dressed, each step to the house brings memories of others gone, a roll call of wasted potential, diseases, and what? Who? The ride to the funeral home is uneventful, quiet. No radio, no talking. The sidewalk in front of the funeral home is packed. People are out smoking merely because death lives inside, and that makes us uncomfortable. No one points out the irony. Handshakes, hugs, awkward jokes, followed by even more awkward, painful laughter, knowing glances of a silent conversation. O'Brien's again, can you believe it? It's always no. Especially this time. No illnesses, no issues, just gone. The stairs take an eternity. The doorway feels like a barrier between reality and nightmare, but you're entering a place that is both of these things more than any place else in the world. As you sign the guest book, you wonder what will be around the corner. Which scenario will it be? Many are possible, but The best case scenario would be what? Seeing a slightly toasted corpse ready to be put into the ground? Maybe. But I know the worst case scenario, because I saw it. The worst case scenario is that you will turn the corner, look at the casket, and they will look exactly the same. Okay. All right. Know the death one? I should have saved the funny one for last, Anyway, too late now. All right, so this is unfinished business. All I have of Nancy is a travel mug that says, "We found something that does the work of 6 men, 1 woman." Masood dropped dead of a massive heart attack while holding his youngest daughter 19 years ago. His wife, Renee, my friend, has yet to recover. Jimmy couldn't bring himself to deal with his mother's car, so we have it now. Some of her clothes are still in the trunk. I won't be the one that moves them. My wife will never forget that the final words she spoke to her mother were out of impatience and frustration and not of love. This still haunts her. I've been writing this since she died. People talk of unfinished business, but it's misdirected. It has nothing to do with everyone loved her, just started to turn their life around, or even it was so sudden. Because it has nothing to do with the one that's gone. The unfinished business is ours. The unfinished business is the rest of our lives, having to be lived without them, having to figure out how to do this impossible thing. In an effort to explain what we're not supposed to know, we've turned acre upon acre of rich, fertile, useful land into a coping mechanism, created gods for the dead and legends of rivers with ghoulish ferrymen, created prayers to saints once merely human, and mystical ceremonies of the utmost importance. These rituals are also ours. They are for us. Every culture throughout human history has done this in its own way so we can get to the next day, and the next, and the next. Allow us to wrap our heads around the fact that the world will continue despite our pain. Don't get me wrong. I don't disagree with any of these. In fact, I say we need more. Anything that will make this easier. Some say this is why there is religion, that it's simply the management of fear, but it's important to believe in something, isn't it? Even if it's just to have something to lean on, for sanctuary, relief. Most of us are told what to believe, not to examine the version of after that came from some stranger's grandfather, so we're left with questions and doubts and the occasional 2 a.m. panic attack. Donna was never actually told her mother had died. She was forced to glean this from what was going on around her at age 7. Despite its spectacular view, I get an uneasy feeling whenever I go over the Tobin Bridge, almost feel as if I'll be blown right off, because someone I frankly didn't even like jumped off of it. I remember cleaning up her first failed suicide attempt a few months before and thinking, God, I hope this is the worst she makes these kids deal with. The unfinished business is ours. We funneled every bit of fear and uncertainty, every bad childhood memory of reality unexplained into being so afraid of what comes next, so afraid of how we'll be made to atone for our choices. We've always been so afraid of death. The simple, honest truth is that what we really fear most is life. I don't know what the time is. I only have 2 more, though. So, not specifically about death, just to relieve you. All right. Sometimes I wonder if 7-year-old me is responsible for all of this. I'd called my mother a bitch for the first time and only time, and all I can think of was trying to get out of the trouble that was coming my way. But it didn't come. So I snuck down the hall and peeked into her room. She was laying down, arms behind her head, staring at the ceiling. I squeaked, "Mom? Why did you call me that?" I'd never seen her quite like this, and despite what we thrust upon them now, children know so little of consequences. I said the only thing I could think of, the only thing I knew would affect her. I started crying and screamed, "I'm depressed!" I didn't even know what it really meant. Not then. But this was the only time I would speak those words as a lie. The last time I was comfortable in my own skin was 3rd grade, about halfway through. Then I got fat, and my friends got mean. This is when I noticed the darkness. I say notice because I can't help but believe that it's always been there, that its discovery was inevitable. It has made me believe that the things that make me who I am also made me wrong. From that point on, mine was not a forgivable soul. And with what I have done since, maybe it shouldn't be. That voice has never gone completely silent. On August 2nd of the year I turned 18, was supposed to be the day I left to become a sonar technician in the United States Navy. Instead, it was my first day at Aborn True Value in Coolidge Corner, helping old ladies pick out the right plunger and resisting the urge to throw myself upon the table saw throat first. The previous April, I had walked into my guidance counselor's office where this man who had devoted his life to education said to me, "You know, some people just aren't cut out for school." I shook his hand and said, "I think you're right. Take care of yourself." And then I walked out of Brookline High for the last time. While I know I did what I had to do at the moment, what my previous choices made necessary, I can't help but wonder if these were a couple of those turning point crossroad things. And I can't help but wonder if I went the right way, because it's so hard to see in this darkness, and my sense of direction has always let me down. I'm 40 now, and the darkness is as blinding and as loud as ever. I have spent my lifetime amassing an army of flashlights and earplugs and silver linings. This will get better, and this has to end some days. I have collected the love of every soul foolish enough to believe I am deserving, and made from it a shield that I carry with me always. How to kill the mood. It has not saved me. Not from sometimes thinking that danger, third rail, is more invitation than warning, that no matter how much love I give to this world, it will never love me back, never make me feel that I truly deserve to be a part of it, that I belong here. I like to say that depression is something I deal with, but really it's as much who I am as anything else. One more. Not about depression. I promise. Okay. So, this is called We Are More Than This. Too many poems start with a definition we all know what malpractice is. No matter the truth of the situation, though, I can't go into details due to pending litigation, because we all know that the truth isn't the truth till a damn judge says so. This is what we've become. The ghosts of our ancestors do not approve. We have nothing to be proud of. No reason to separate a shoulder, patting ourselves on the back as our egos marvel blindly at our ingenious catastrophe. The glory of each sunrise, each birth becomes a miracle squandered, lost in the pursuit of a richer payday, a faster ride, a better piece of ass, a friendlier reality. We are more than this. Scrambling to climb ladders of success, we ignore the ladder of evolution because it's too tall, the climb too difficult for these legs, already tired from the effort of our performance in this darkness, holding our faces up to it as if it were the warm glow of heaven, choking on the ignorance we shove down our throats as if it could sustain us. We are more than this. Despite what we were led to believe, we are not merely drunken nights spaced out by work's immeasurable appetite for chain gang repetition, breaking our souls instead of rocks. Not merely a stranger's steamy groin and groping hands in the dark, reaching for a salvation that will never come in this way. However you try to justify or rationalize it, I will not lie to you and tell you it is okay. Because we are more than this. Despite the best efforts of tyrants and zealots, we are not jail protesters, propaganda, or lost souls. Those seeking earthly power ignore what it really is, too busy trumpeting their own greatness. We are not ethnic cleansing or machetes bloodied in the name of any god, not burning crosses in white robes, or the flesh of Stella Bird's boy James being scraped away, his screams echoing in a forest of swinging bodies, noose to noose, shackle to shackle. Amen. We are more than this. Despite what it says on the asses of sweatpants, we are not sluts, baby mamas, bitches, or hoes. Mothers are the embodiment of love. We are not merely gold teeth, tinted windows, or bling, cruising streets drenched in the blood of children and calling it territory. We are not the puppets of puppets of puppets, perpetuating our own demise, not pawns, experiment subjects, or collateral damage. We are not negative outcomes or economic downturns. It is not for them that our bodies bleed. It is not for them that our warriors die. They die for us, for the promise that we will let go of these shackles, that we will be more than this. Because our truth can never be silenced or ignored. Our hope cannot be reasoned away or dismissed. It does not come from within ourselves. It comes from our children. And they are so much more than this. I am incapable of pretending that they are not. Thank you.
Wow. Another hand for Mr. Mike Quigg. We have one latecomer for the open mic. If I'm pronouncing it improperly, I apologize. Nuan? Nigel. Sorry about that. My apologies. Nuan. So now you have a new name. So one more on the open mic, and thank you.
Thank you. What a nice eclectic mix of poetry tonight. I really like some of the messages people got out there. My name is Nigel. This poem is called Please. What comes next will bring great ease. Please stop using plastic microwaves to fill silence, crying out lies that linger in eyelids, staring into myths of empire and glittery conquests. Please release me from the monotonous sensual desire. Let me drip with cardamom succulence, inhaling an ocean of golden ratio warmth, suckling fruitful peace, droplets of our soul's reunion. Bliss and agony melt into one stream of preciousness, releasing my eyes clutch into the transmission of a heart vessel, pumping me into an unborn mastery, a gift, sitting on Golden Vulture's peak, panning the entire skyline for potent greenery, vibrant with the pulse of becoming life. Please wait for me on that cresting sun, that moment on the blanket of release, traveling past the mists of our parents' mistaken notions, twisted realities that keep them revolving in the undertow of their ancestors' murderings. Yet not all moments are murderous, but poignant and lingering with potential children, what we become, the promise of visions divinely planted, rooted like a nest of dream beacons, guiding the heart of the earth through our limbs. Please hear the silence between my thoughts, where romance marries dark mysteries, and the fiery passion of waiting becomes worthy of our traveling through space on this aquatic planet. Born from the seas, the dirt makes trees. As their friends, the fungi connect us all. The highway of minerals that eventually make our organs heal. Love through feeling. They don't need your answers, just your presence. They don't need your presence, just your heart in their creations. Support for endeavors that expand breath and enrich dreams. As I pull back from the plastic moments and unplug my microwave, I protect what my eyes eat and what my heart believes, for what comes next will bring great ease.
Thank you, Nigel. And thank you all. Thank you for the open mic. Thank you, Steve Jones. Thank you, Mike Quigg. Thank you to the Blackthorn. Thank you to the Easton Shoveltown Cultural District. It's a long name, but I always have to say it properly. And thank you to ECAT, Easton Community Access TV, for our sound system and for filming for our 1 hour show. And I have one announcement I have been guilty of not promoting, that George and I run a monthly poetry writing and editing poetry workshop. It is the second Saturday of the month at the Ames Free Library, which would mean it is this Saturday, and it is from 10 to noon. So you can talk to us and get more information from it. But other than that, we are finished. I thank you all very, very much. Drive safe and enjoy. Thank you.